Welcome to our very first virtual Dapper Conversation. We are in DC, and shout out to Thai Bar for powering this event today, letting us use their beautiful DC location for us to have this conversation. My name is NeAndre Broussard. I'm the founder of Black Menswear. Black Menswear is all about changing the narrative of the black male, and we use positive male imagery through black men in suits to help personify that, really kind of change the mindset of especially young black boys who always see themselves negatively. If we can help just kind of put more content out there that allows for them to see themselves in a more positive, more optimistic light, then we feel like we've done our part.
My name is Dr. Kalim Wigfall from Charleston, South Carolina. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate Black Menswear for inviting me to participate in this panel. Thank you.
Yes,
My name is Donovan Woodberry. I'm the owner and founder of the Posh Standard. I was inspired to create a new narrative. Posh meaning stylish, luxurious, upper class. Standard meaning a level of quality that is used or accepted as normal or average. Meaning Posh Standard is a new standard, a new way of thinking, a new way of treating each other, a new way of presenting yourself.
I am Odell Dickerson Jr., known as Odell Exec on social media. I am the Chief Operating Officer of the New Psalmist Baptist Church in Baltimore, Maryland. I am also the principal of Odell Exec Enterprises, LLC. That's what the culture tells us to do. Grind, hustle.
And then close the door because they got to work just as hard as you did to get there.
It's because the reality is nothing that we do is really about us. It's for your children or the next generation. And once we start understanding that, then you would be more attuned to understanding that everything you're doing is for your children or those people that's coming up behind you. So
that's my thing. So I'm not even looking at the elected officials first. I'm looking at myself first. I'm looking at my family first. I'm looking at the people who in my community who have influence and seeing how we can do this thing together.
Me, three things is so important to me when it comes to community. The first and foremost would be black women. You follow me, you already know I spend a great deal uplifting black women. We as a people, we as black people cannot get anywhere until our black women start feeling safe, until if I'm driving and I see a black woman struggling with her groceries, I could stop and ask her, do she need a ride? And she don't second guess it. Until we get to that point, we're not going anywhere. I am so intrinsically motivated, it's almost sickening because I'm always pushing myself to the next level because I'm so used to creating opportunities out of thin air for myself. Like we were just having a conversation the other day, I literally do everything myself. Like when I was homeless, nobody didn't get me from homeless. I had to pull my own self up. When I'm hungry, I had to figure out what to eat. These are just things I had to do. So the more things that I did successfully, like you said, the small successes, it just what else? What you gonna do? Because I don't care how much opportunities people have, where they come from, you're not gonna out-hustle me. Nobody can out-hustle me in my head. Because I'm not gonna
create a word, dapperness, right? To see a man in a suit and a tie, right? I was like, there's something about him, and the extra thing for me was the briefcase. If he had a briefcase, that was amazing. I just assumed he worked downtown. He had an office overviewing the Baltimore Harbor, and with a big window. And that's what I wanted. They always walk with purpose, and maybe I saw their purpose. I didn't know what that was called, and I later found out that was called a business.
Well, those kind of things. I'll tell you this, man. Until I was 15, 16, my self-confidence was very low. And bro, my mom, every day, when she noticed it, every day, probably by the time I was 14 to 15, every day my mom said, you're handsome today, you know that, right? Because she saw how I was feeling about myself. And at this time too, I ain't the tallest person now, but I was 5'2" going into high school. So I was small, probably a buck, soaking wet. So I was small, but I always made friends and that kind of stuff. So I was always good with connecting with people. But I just had this thing that I couldn't get over about myself. And I'm not worthy, right? But once I realized that I am who I am, I'm gonna be who I'm gonna be, and I'm gonna grow and I'm gonna develop. But I'm still gonna be me as I grow and develop. I'm not gonna develop into Donovan, right? And so once I figured that out, then it became how do I help other people figure that out about themselves? How do I help connect them with the right people that I see something in you, I know you can be, you probably need to talk to this person.
We're so busy focused on everybody else, and we think we have to be like that image. We think we have to be like that image. Yes, we can use them for positive influence, but don't try to be them. So even in my teaching and even in my leadership, I'm never saying, yeah, I might give a blueprint, but I'm not saying be me. Because you can never be me, you'll probably fail.
But the mentality I think you have towards this thing called life is you only get one shot at it. And the issue that you have today is so minute,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so if you're able to understand that, I think you'll be able to navigate, the world a little better and deal with, stress or manage your stress or your anger a little better. So my approach is, I really don't deal with stress. I don't get worked up about a lot of things. And so my whole platform now is about what I call mental hygiene. And that's kind of just maintaining that level where, if you look at like a gasoline tank and, things happen, you might get close to the E, but you're not gonna let your car get like that. So I think you should approach your personal, moves like that. Make sure you at least got half a tank in there.
Best thing you could do as a black man is to get a black therapist. Need somebody that been through that can understand what you've been through, so they can like appropriately listen. The thing about people when you're going through depression is listening is an art form. Like, I could tell you my whole life crashing, and you've been a good person. The first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna stop listening, and you're gonna offer advice. I don't need that. I don't want that. And that, not getting that from the therapist is what really drove like a lot of like I did a whole life shift. And
when I get in college, I realized I had a lot of misconceptions about college. I'm actually a nerd. I'm actually kind of smart. Who knew? Right? And then that was the confidence, the self-confidence. And now I'm hungry, so I go off, get a master's degree because I need a master's degree to go in the medical field in the military. Get the master's, I'm like, man, I don't think I won't be called a doctor. What I gotta do to do that? So it really wasn't about becoming a doctor. It was like the goal to get that. And so I just, the focus of that, but I say it's kind of like, I'm not sure what your struggles were as with going through navigating the homelessness, but the drive that you have to get to this goal. And so that I just approach it like that.
I'll go to my routine. Like I start listening to TD Jakes. I start listening to my favorite, Les Brown, and just listening to him every day. One of the things that stuck to me was like, you have to listen to the same sermons every single day. Literally every single time you're gonna get something different. I'm talking about, I wake up in the shower listening to it, go to sleep listening to it, at lunch at my desk listening to it. I'm unemployed for 2 weeks. And then I start adding other stuff. Like I wake up, jump up and do jumping jacks to get my blood flowing rather than cut on the TV or listening to my phone. And then from there I start meditating. Then I pray before I go to the shower. Then I cut on Les Brown again. And that turned to a day thing. Then it turned to a week thing. Then it turned to a month thing. Now it's 3 months and I'm happier than I ever been before. Literally a month after doing that, I ended up tripling my pay, finding a way better job than I had at the time.
Things our children don't understand, it's those detours that give you your best lessons. If that road was straight and smooth, you wouldn't learn as much. You wouldn't get the wisdom. It's one thing to have knowledge, but you get the wisdom from the experience, for the bumps and the bruises, from the weight of it all.
The scabs.
Yeah, that's right. That's where real growth. And working, I'm a workout fanatic, and working out, the only way you build muscle is you tear it down first. And then you feed it. And then you rest it, and it grows. Yeah.
Appreciate everybody tuning in with us. Thank you, Ty Bar, for sure. We appreciate you guys supporting this. Always been a company about a cause and about a mission, so thank you for supporting Black Menswear. But again, Ty Bar, we appreciate you guys, appreciate the support. Gentlemen, I appreciate you joining us today. And everybody out there, we appreciate you as well. Y'all have a good night, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.